Watch out.
See, okay.
TOS system test. Okay. TOS system test. Okay.
When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too.
Good afternoon. We're going to try this one more time. Tried it several times. I just want to make sure I'm giving everything I can a look on this one. So we're going into activities. I already made a video about the flight training for the ILS, which we seem like we might have found a bug in that one. There's also the IFR test that we want to take a look at. So go ahead and give that one a shot again and see if you guys are running into the same thing I'm running into with this pesky IFR test. So I'm going to make use of the autopilot where I can, just to make sure we're as close as we can be to all the instructions. So go ahead and start her up here. And right away, she's going to want us to be at 5,000. So I'll put on the autopilot in altitude mode.
We're at 5,000 feet following a GPS route towards Sunburn.
Nav mode, she's going to want us at 110.
Perform some handling tasks to test your IFR flying skills. Follow the GPS as shown in magenta on your CDI, maintaining 5,000 feet and 110 knots. Okay,
so
still maintaining the GPS course. Take us down to 3,500 feet, keeping 110 knots airspeed.
Okay, so we're going to go 35, pull this back a little bit, 3,500 feet, and we'll go vertical speed, and we'll drop that down and pull some power out here to keep around 110. So we're staying on our altitude right now. What I'm going to do just while we're doing that is I'm going to go throw it in heading mode a second, or just get my heading bug lined up here, because pretty soon she's going to give us some, basically guidance of turns and things like that. So at any rate, we're staying pretty good on our airspeed. We're staying pretty good on our, we're on the nav line here, and we're descending down to 3,500 feet as per the instructions. So sure that I'm making some power adjustments so we can stay right around 110 where she'd like us to be. So now I'm going to put us in, we are in heading mode. So as soon as she starts to talk to us again, we'll get ready to switch to heading mode. We're in nav mode right now, following the line, but be preparing to pull some power out a little bit once we level off, or put some power back in, sorry, so we can maintain our, so when we start to see the descent rate here.
Keep us at 3,500 feet and make a left turn onto heading 060.
Okay, left turn 060. So I'm going to make this gentle. Added my power back in, and keep messing with my speed there just to make sure we stay as close as possible. So 060 is what we're going to here on the left. We're rolling through, so you might see my heading bug. I'm just sort of walking the heading bug around. So now what I'll do is I'm going to get zoomed in a little bit more when I hit 060 so you guys can see. We don't really need to be seeing outside right now, right? So this is for IFR training, so I'm going to get in a little bit tighter on.
Let's throw some other things your way.
Okay.
Please bring the speed back to 70 knots.
Okay, so I'm pulling some power out. And as soon as I get down the white arc there, I'll throw some flaps in, and then we should be able to start putting some power in here.
Now keep us at 3,500 feet, 70 knots, and turn us to the right onto heading 225.
Right, heading 225. So I'll start to walk us around there. I'll keep the power. Okay, right, heading 225. Just gently turning around, right? Nothing too excessive on the bank here. Getting closer to 225, right? Speed looking good, altitude's looking good. We're just about close to 20, and I'll stop right there, and we should level out right at. Okay.
Okay, now get us back to 110 knots.
Okay. And as soon as we come through about 80, I'll pop the flaps off, and we'll keep increasing our speed. 3,500 still on the altitude. So far, you know, we're following instructions pretty well here. Okay, we're back to 110. Now this is where she tends to leave us hanging in the lurch. So I'm just going to fly for a little while here. You guys can witness that there is no instruction or anything else forthcoming. Right, we're just flying. We'll go right through that silly little line, you know, the GPS center line there of the runway, which is an offset, not some kind of speed, altitude, heading, and you can notice that it did not give us a check mark for the low airspeed turn, so it's like it can't clear that mark for some reason, and so we can just be left here indefinitely going out into the ocean, away from Sunberg. So this is the issue that I'm seeing, and I think other people are reporting too. So on my other video, the ILS video, other people kind of saying that this also was a problem. And I don't like to say things are a bug if it could be, you know, our own personal, you know, just piloting errors. But honestly, you know, this seems to be within tolerance from every measure I can see, and we're just kind of being left in a lurch at this point. So we follow all our instructions pretty precisely, and then once we come out of this and our heading is 225, it just leaves us. And I've done this before many times. So you see that white ring over there on the right. We can go out past that and eclipse through that, and still nothing. Now, if we turn, if we slow down, she'll say, "Oh, you should be at 110." If we turn, it's no problem. We can go any which direction we want. Go back like we're lining up for a landing. All that stuff we can do. But unfortunately, the minute you come off of 110 knots, she starts to freak out. And then if you touch down in a perfect landing, she'll be like, "Watch out," like the ILS one. So, you know, that's it just doesn't seem like this test or that other section of the IFR training was done very well. It doesn't seem like it's doesn't seem like it's working correctly. So as mentioned, I mean, we could just keep flying like this forever, but it doesn't matter what you do. You can go tried different, I've put in ILS, I've done different landings on the different runways, all good landings, doesn't matter. As soon as you touch down, just like the IFR one, watch out. And that's basically it, you failed. So, hopefully, here we are just gonna fly off until we run out of fuel, thanks to the excellent instruction we're getting at this moment. We've been doing our best, but yeah, nothing but ocean there. Unless we hit Scotland, I suppose we could keep flying until we get to Scotland. Might be good. Oh, and I've eclipsed that. It's not the white ring, because that just follows the airplane. It's the blue ring here. So I've gone that far and further, just seeing if it's just a patience thing. It doesn't seem like this is how the training should go. So what I have done then is, once I've determined that she's left us and forgotten about us, I've just gone back and made an approach. So we can go back in, pick any kind of approach you want, shoot the ILS like we've done before. You're going to get the watch out. So what I'll do is, if you guys want to see that through to the end, let's go ahead and do that now. It can't possibly be that we're supposed to wait 10, 15 minutes, or longer, just flying a long ways away, just indefinitely. I don't think that's the point of this training. It's a waste of fuel and instructor time. But yeah, I'll just keep going just for a little bit longer. And again, before I've gone past that blue arc, and no joy. So what we'll do now is we're just going to take the heading, we're going to turn around, we're going to kind of head back to basically do a 180. I'm going to come down here, so we're flying sort of northeast or something like that. Just do something like that. 40 degrees. See, she's not bothering her, complaining about anything, we're pretty much at the altitude she wanted us. She's not saying, oh, you're supposed to stay going straight, I haven't told you to turn. She doesn't do any of that kind of stuff, right? So that's not really doesn't seem like that would be the case or the issue here. So now we're heading back, and I'll just go over there and look for you guys a quick second. We'll use the range here and see that we're actually heading back. And let's go look real quick. I want to make sure we pull up an approach for EGPB. So if we went in and just did that, I can look up the chart. We go to procedures, select approach, and we'll take the ILS to 7. We could take the localizer 9. We're kind of going to be heading that way, but let's just take the ILS so you guys can see that we're to enter that. And we don't want vectors. Let's just go to some. And minimums, we're not going to do that. We don't need to set that right now. And we'll load it. It's okay. You can see, so we can come around to the right. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of take our heading to the right now, and we'll kind of intercept that outbound. We're pretty much at sea level on the field, so let's just give ourselves, we'll intercept a glide slope at like 2,000 or something like that, maybe 1,500. Right about there. We should fly into that arc a little bit, and then we can get it going. I didn't mean to do that, so that'll take us right to summer. So I can go ahead and hit nav mode right now. Okay. That'll take us right over the field, which is supposed to be where we're supposed to start it, because that's where we've chosen as our starting point for our ILS. Right, what I'm going to do is bring our altitude down a little bit too, so we can bring that down to 2,500 right now. Go down vertical speed. I'll pull some power. Keep it still around 110 as long as we can, and she's going to eventually gripe about it. So we have to slow up to, unless we want to land at 110 knots, which we don't. But we'll just, like I said, we'll stay as close as we can for now. This is going to swing us out to the right. And remember, we got to add power back in when we start to level off here. So as I see that happening, we're going to put some power back in so we can maintain our. There we go. Turn off here to the right a little bit. Yep, it's coming up in a second here. There we go. So far, so good. And this whole time we've been, like I said, we've been pretty much staying, until it's time to land. I guess it doesn't really matter anymore, but we're always staying on 110 knots. She doesn't seem to mind that we changed headings, right? Because she stopped giving us instruction, or she didn't mind about the altitudes, but she will mind about any significant airspeed deviation. So you'll notice that she'll start to complain when we get to that point of our approach where we have to reduce speed. And you can see right now we're just going to follow this out here, come around, get lined up on the localizer. And this is the same approach also that you have that IFR issue on. So I can assure you it's not just this runway that you do that on. Any kind of normal landing or touchdown results in the same. Watch out. And it's like you can see the low airspeed turn, even though we did everything she asked us to, never checked off and turned green like some of the other ones. So I think that's where the code bug is happening personally. So it's going to take this through its conclusion. I'll probably try to speed this up. I don't know if everybody wants to watch this in real time, but it is a bit of a frustration for a few folks, including myself. And again, it doesn't appear that we're doing anything significantly or that's out of tolerance. Let's put it that way. You certainly are not going to be on 110, and you might drop to 108 or bounce between that or 112. But you're very close, and your altitude's really close. We're using autopilot, and so it's pretty much nailing everything except for the airspeed. So it just seems seems messed up, just like the other one. Again, I have to keep my humility here because it could be something that many of us are doing incorrectly. Always that possibility. I work healthcare IT, so you know, many times someone said something was a bug and it ended up not being. But in this case, it seems quite likely. Well, we'll see. So, just slowly making my way out in the world's largest. It's not the largest, I was going to say. It seems like you go quite a ways out into the ocean here to line up for your ILS approach. Let's take our time. So we're 3.2, 3.1 miles from some 9.5. So, which is our next waypoint. Speed, altitude, everything's holding steady. Just look outside here. Definitely not flying VFR at the moment, right? But what we're supposed to do, ILS. Miles till our next turn. Kind of like a marine layer we're going through right now. Sun's going down. Okay. You can see we're getting our next track here coming on in 2 seconds, 1 second. Here we go. Turning our next point, and I'm just giving us a little bit of power into the turn. Just a touch. As we roll out of that, bring it back just a touch. Okay. Still doing good on the altitude, just following our approach in here. I would pass me on this one so far. But that's just me. Just pretty stable. We're not really doing anything too radical here. See my everything's just pretty steady. We got 1 mile, 1.1 miles till we turn again on inbound, and I think I should do approach mode right now. Wonder if I switch to approach mode, if that will. So the localizer's in. And you can see over to the right, we get the glide slope coming down, so hopefully that'll capture and acquire here shortly. Then it'll start us down, and we'll have to pull some power back to stay as for a while on this airspeed that she wants us on. And here it comes, so I'm going to kind of pull back power a little bit, right? Eventually, like I said, we're going to slow down like a normal approach here, so. not touch screens. Whatever you do, they don't work like that. We're at about 6.3 miles on mile right now, so Sunberg approach, November 107 Bravo Romeo, inbound, ILS runway 27 Sunberg. Now we're inbound at the final approach fix, right? So just past that. Coming down, a nice steady clip, and I'm going to start to slow it up just ever so slightly now. I don't want to be at 110 the whole way in, so she may complain. Let's see where she starts to complain. What airspeed deviation does she not like? I think it's significant, but I'm just going to slowly crank it down, slowly backing it down. I think I see out there on the distance runway threshold, right? She hasn't complained yet, but she's going to any second now about.
Watch the speed.
Yeah,
We
okay.
want
See,
110
just
knots.
so
You
down to
lost your speed
95
target.
knots. She didn't like that, right? Lost my speed target. Okay. This is an offset ILS, if you guys remember from now. The weather's a little worse now, right? So. Out. So we're staying on the, localizer, staying on the glide slope. I'd be inclined to take the autopilot off right about now, but it's coming down so nice and steady, and I just leave it on just for a couple more seconds.
500.
Okay, I'm taking the autopilot off, and I'm going to put in more flaps now. Slow up, have a nice gentle touchdown here.
Watch out.
See, okay. Can't really touch down any softer than that. So anyway, that's what happens every time. So if you guys see this and want to leave a comment or having the same issue, appreciate knowing if it's just me or if it's something that everybody's kind of facing. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. If you're still watching to now, you're great. You're an aviation enthusiast. And take care. We'll talk to you next time.